Hi everybody, today I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips and tricks on how to really understand some of the most important things about applying your makeup, what things you can do to make your makeup last longer, and just some of the questions that quite a few of you guys have been addressing for me. And instead of individually answering them, I wanted to put the answers to some of your questions out there as a whole so that you all can benefit from them. So the book I'm going to recommend to you guys, this is the freaking best book ever. This is called The Beauty of Color by Iman. And Iman is the supermodel shown here, and she's a really, really gorgeous supermodel and is actually very knowledgeable in the makeup industry. Here's just all these tips and tricks, and they have like guidelines about what makeup is more appropriate for teens and women in their 30s and women in their 40s and 50s and 60s and so on. And it tells you about how to choose the right foundation shade. It's just a really, really awesome book for beginners, intermediate, professionals. Just a book to have if you like to read. There's just a lot of really, really helpful things in here. And any book by Kevyn Aucoin, oh, may God rest his soul. He died a few years ago, but he is the best makeup artist, like hands down. He's probably one of the best makeup artists. He's worked with Janet Jackson. This man has worked with Madonna, Jewel, like everybody. This man is awesome. And he has quite a few books. Every time I go into Borders, I go straight to the makeup aisle. Yes, they have a makeup aisle in Borders, but that's where I go because that's just what I like, reading about. So Kevyn Aucoin books, Kevyn Aucoin, and I'll put the name on the screen because it's not spelled the way it's pronounced, for sure. And Iman, I-M-A-N. If I'm an NW45, why do I use NW40 under my eyes? Okay, I'm going to explain to you guys the logic behind that. When you use a concealer under your eyes that's the same color as your natural foundation color, it's going to cast a shadow. And personally for me, because my bottom eyelashes are so long and thick, I automatically get that casted shadow where it looks like I have dark circles. But for the most part, I really don't. Like mine aren't, I mean, they're normal, I would consider them perfect, but they're not anything out of the ordinary. But when you use a concealer underneath your eyes, that's the same as your foundation color. Or if you don't use a concealer at all, even if it's just a little bit, you're going to have like those casted shadows. So what I've suggested to people is, well, if you're an NW45, try NW40 for under your eyes. This is Select Cover Up by MAC. For my foundation color, I'm NW45. And under my eyes, I use NW40. And what that does is it instantly, and I mean instantly, just brightens up my face. And what I do is, actually I'm going to show you the tip. What I learned, when you're applying concealer, you are going to apply it in such a way that you start from, obviously you're going to have concealer on the bottom here. You're going to start from the tip of your nose and you're going to all the way up to the end of your eye. You're not going to extend it out or else it's not going to look natural, but let me show you guys a picture of what I mean by that. Can you see in this picture here, right there, see how this kind of like a triangle? Actually, I don't do that triangle. I carry it down all the way to the tip of my nose. But this is, you can blend it out to that way as well. But in this picture, it's basically showing you how to apply concealer, and that's exactly what I do. And I'm just going to put it out there, and I'm not trying to offend anybody, I'm not trying to hurt anybody's feelings, and I'm not talking about anyone specific in this, what I'm about to say. Okay, using a black brow pencil does not look natural on anyone, no matter what your skin color is, no matter what your hair color is, no matter what anybody tells you, it does not look natural at all. Now, I can only tell you what my opinion is and what other people, other people that agree with me, and it's just a very, very, like, it's just a no-no, okay? But only you will decide whether or not you are going to actually, I can lead you to the water, but I can't force you to drink. But I'm telling you guys, if you're using the black brow pencils, I'm going to be the person to tell you that it doesn't look good. And it's never going to look good. And the reason for that is black is too harsh of a color for your eyebrows. It's way too harsh. Even if your hair is jet black, it just does not look natural up against your skin. So even if you do, just use the darkest brown eyebrow pencil that there is. And if you're really, really uncomfortable, just draw it on extra dark. But please don't use black. It doesn't look natural on anybody, and I mean anybody. You're going to get the least amount of coverage from a powder. So for those of you who like going for that natural look, you know, you can just throw in some powder. And even I like using mineralized skin finish because it's even more sheer than your average powder foundations. It's just kind of like, it has like gold reflects in it, I think, or it looks like it does on me at least. And just looking at it in the palette, let's show you guys what that looks like. It's recommended that you use this on top of like a liquid foundation just to set it, and not by itself. But when I'm just doing like my little lazy day, or like if I go to the store, I mean, I like looking natural, but I like looking alive too. So sometimes I like to put something on my face to look like I didn't just roll out of bed. Not to disrespect anybody or not to be mean, but that right there will provide very, very light coverage from you. Going up next on the coverage scale would be a liquid, and I use, as mentioned before, I use MAC's Studio Fix Fluid, which is here. This bottle lasts me a very, very long time too. I think I bought this bottle about 3 months ago. I've had it for a while. And I wear makeup a few times a week. So for those of you that wear makeup every day, you can stretch that bottle. And I'm satisfied with the product, so I like it. And plus, I don't need that much coverage, and with that, you can kind of build it to where you want it. It doesn't just look cakey on everyone. You can build it to where you want it. If you can put it on light, and if you don't like it light, you can put on like a little bit more, and then leave it as is instead of like a light powder. You're going to get the most coverage from a cream foundation, and I don't actually own any cream foundations, but an example of that would be like MAC's Studio Tech, and that's just the same, it's the exact same texture as the concealer I showed you before here, and it's exactly what it sounds like. It's a cream. So it's very thick, and it's very easy to mess up. I can honestly say that I've seen some people who don't blend it well, so you have to be careful with cream foundations. And also a very, very important tip with foundations, especially when you're using a liquid. When you're using a liquid, and depending on what type of brush you use, I like my stipple brush. When you're using like one of these stipple brushes, for those of you, like, do you ever put on your foundation and you're like, why do I have all these lines on my face, like right after? Like when I first started doing makeup, I noticed that, like I had the smile lines. And I'm like, I'm only 20, like why do I have lines on my face? Well, make sure that when you're using a liquid foundation that you're blending it in till it dries all the way, and then you move on to the next spot. Like, don't put on your foundation and leave your face dewy, because when it's wet, that's when it settles into all the fine lines. Like I was just putting on concealer the other day, and I was being lazy, and I just slapped it on there, and I didn't pat it all the way until it dried, and it settled into my lines, so it looked like creasy. Not greasy, but creasy. It started creasing underneath my eye. So when you're applying your foundation, make sure that you blend it until it dries, and then you move on to the other parts of your face.